What up, y'all? This is Dominic369 coming back at you for Occultism Unleashed. I got a new astrology video for you guys today. Enjoy it and ask questions if you got them in the comments. What up, y'all? This is Dominic369 for Occultism Unleashed. Today is December 19th, and we are talking about Venus going retrograde in Capricorn. You know, Venus retrograde, it creates some type of war on the senses. If you're not careful, you may just find yourself being callous and sadistic, as Venus in Capricorn tends to bring forth some of our more selfish and egocentric characteristics, as well as being we also tend to start taking our feelings more serious than usual. You know, and when we take our feelings more serious than usual, it can tend to stir up some pretty violent passions, especially with, Pluto retrograding back over Pluto in Capricorn. If this been the case for you, or if you're allowing yourself to be subjected to that type of treatment, Venus retrograde would be a time for deep introspection. And you really need to ask yourself, are your emotional needs being met? Have you lost your compassion in pursuing your own personal goals and desires? Have you, allowed yourself to neglect the feelings and fail to acknowledge other people's humanity and their need for their feelings to be acknowledged in order to, press forth in your agenda? Now is the time for you to assess your values. And whatever house Venus is transiting in, this is the area that you're going to be affected the most. If it's occurring in your first house, the retrograde is going to give you an opportunity to refine your image, because Venus is a hand mirror. It gives us an opportunity to look at our own behavior and see how it's either lending to our reputation or destroying our reputation. Venus is the natural ruler of the second house. So as it retrogrades in the second house, in the sign of Capricorn, which represents discipline. Are you spending wastefully? Are you squandering your resources? Are you allowing your values to be taken for granted? In the third house, it's asking that you reflect on your thinking patterns and your communication skills. Have you been a little bit heartless towards your siblings in a time when they're in need of compassion? What about, your community? Are you being considerate of others when conveying your thoughts and ideas? Because the third house definitely rules the mind and communication also. In the fourth house, the retrograde's asking you to reevaluate your family value system. And if you have Capricorn on your fourth house, you didn't have the emotional support that you needed, especially from your father. It was cold and calloused. Are you going to carry on that legacy? Are you going to adapt and understand that sometimes people give us an example of what not to do? And we don't always have to follow in that father figure's footsteps, especially if they're not nurturing and loving and they're selfish and self-centered, as Capricorn can be in its negative aspects. In the fifth house, the fifth house is our house of children, but it's also our house of fun, our house of creativity, intimacy that doesn't bind us to long-term relationships. All these things are, ruled by the fifth house. Also gambling, because investment in the stock and things like that, that's a form of gambling with your resources. Venus is telling you, don't make no investments right now. Look at where you've been putting your money and look at what you've been getting out of your investments. Is it helping you excel in life? If not, you need to cut that crap out ASAP. Sixth house, Venus in the sixth house, you really need to be aware of sexually transmitted diseases. because the sixth house is the house of health and well-being, as well as our house of service to the world and work. You know, is your landlord treating you, like a decent human being? Are you getting the value out of the property that you're renting? It's also telling us on a, collective scale, how to reflect on how we truly feel about the police and military, because these are public servants. So they're ruled by the sixth house of service. Seventh house, we're looking at your relationship, partnerships, alliances. Are you giving what you're receiving, or are you giving what you want to receive, or are you receiving the same that you want to give? Is it unrequited love and friendship? Is it selfish? Or are you guys striving towards goals and achieving things together? Take it into account. And if it's not progressive for you and the other party, you need to end that relationship. The eighth house. Eighth house, man. Venus retrograde in the eighth house. If you were pregnant and you lost a child, this is a good time for you to get pregnant again, because the eighth house is the house of conception. If you had any type of plastic surgeries and things of that nature, it's a time to, revisit those surgeries, or even revisit your thoughts about surgery, because Venus in Capricorn, it gives you the opportunity, retrograde in Capricorn, it gives you the opportunity to look back and really see if it's going to be worth the pain and suffering of carving up your body, because the eighth house rules surgery. In the ninth house, you're reflecting on your spiritual growth, travel, how much money you spend on travel. Are you enjoying the travel, whether it's physical travel or mental travel? It's a good time to invest in publishing. 10th house, you're reflecting on your career and where you're at in the world. Are you making the impact that you want to see, and how is that impact affecting others? The 11th house is the house of socialization. Do you have any type of emotional connection with the people in the groups that you associate with, that you go and hang out with? Are they beneficial to you? Because you got to remember, Capricorn is a sign of where we aspire to be in the world. The 11th house is the benefits that we get from our position in the world, the value and benefits. So you really need to reflect on, are you getting what you expected or desire from the associations that you have, whether they're association with groups or people? You need to take into account and assess the value that you're getting. And if you're not getting the benefits that you desired, you need to cut that crap out too. The 12th house. Are you taking time for yourself? And what are you learning from yourself when you take time for yourself? Do you have the discipline to do away with your substance abuse issues or your desire to rescue everybody? Do you see yourself being frustrated with authority figures who abuse their power, who seem to have control over you? This is what Venus in Capricorn in the 12th represents. Also, it gives you the opportunity to reflect logically on your intuition and psychic powers, to discern, and really dissect your dreams, reflect on them, and see what messages that you get through them. Anything dealing with Venus isn't just about sex and beauty and luxury items and splurging. Because we do all these things because we don't feel fulfilled within ourselves. When these things become our driving factor, it's because we don't have self-worth within ourselves, and we're always seeking validation, whether it's through people, places, or things that we purchase to add to our value, so other people will perceive us as valuable and treat us as such. So Venus retrograde gives you the opportunity, especially in Capricorn, to take a realistic look at ourselves and see what our values are and if we are being treated how we want to be treated or treating others how we desire to be treated ourselves. I hope you guys take this insight and use it to grow. Peace.